Okay, hello everyone. It's time for our Chapter 7 homework problem video illustration. Okay, so this is a problem, one of the problems from our Chapter 7 homework is actually the first problem. So we have Bill Darby started Darby Company on the 1st of January, year 1, and had the following events. Earn cash revenue, 16,200. Borrow from the bank, $12,000. Adjusted the accounting records to recognize accrued interest expense on the bank note. The note issued on September 1st, year 1, had a 1-year term and an 8% annual interest rate. A asks, what is the amount of interest expense in year 1? All right. So we borrowed $12,000 on the 1st of September. They're asking the amount of interest that has accrued on this note by December 31st. So remember, interest equals principal times rate times time. Again, principal times rate times time. So you're going to multiply 12,000, that is your principal, times the interest rate, which was 8%. That's going to be 0.08. And from September 1st through December 31st, you got September, October, November, December is 4 months. So your time factor is going to be 4 divided by 12. 4 divided by 12. So again, take 12,000 times 0.08 times 4 divided by 12 and tell me how much do you calculate for the year 1 interest expense. Okay. If done correctly, that amount should total $320. Again, that amount should total $320. Okay? B asked what amount of cash was paid for interest in year 1. Well, that amount is going to be 0. The interest is just accrued. However, it will not be paid until the note matures at the end of 1 year. So the interest accrued is 320, but interest paid would be $0. Let's check our work for part 1. And yay, we got that correct. All right. Let's go on to requirement C. Turn to the question. It says use a horizontal statement model to show how each event affects the balance sheet, income statement, statement of cash flow, indicate whether the event increases, decreases each element of the statement on the statement of cash flow. We're going to show how it impacts your operating activities, investing activities, or your finance activity. The first transaction has been recorded. Okay? So the first transaction was we earned $60,200 of cash revenue. So that first transaction would increase cash, increase retained earnings, increase revenue. It would increase net income. And on statement of cash flow, it would be an increase under your operating activities. So that was for transaction 1. But the second transaction is when we borrow 12,000 cash from the bank. So you borrow 12,000 cash from the bank. So you borrow the 12,000 cash, that will increase your cash account. Nope, not both, just one increase. It will increase your cash account. It's going to increase your notes payable because you now have a liability. It will not impact the stockholders' equity section. It's not a revenue or an expense account. but because you borrowed money, it will be an increase on your statement of cash flow, and it's going to be a financing activity. So again, it will increase your cash account, increase your notes payable, and on statement of cash flow, it will be increased as a financing activity. So let's check our word. Okay, and that part was done correctly. Return to the question. So the third transaction is when we made the adjustment, the accounting records to recognize the accrued interest expense. All right. So now your interest payable is going to increase. To recognize the interest that has accrued for year one, your retained earnings is going to decrease because you're going to recognize an increase in interest expense. And because there's only an expense for part two, that will cause a decrease to your net income. There wasn't any cash actually paid out for this transaction. Therefore, it doesn't impact your statement of cash flow. Okay, so we can click on check my work. And now we see our check marks. And let's just kind of go up to the top because what you want to make sure of to make sure you're complete, it says answer is complete and correct. You want to see both of those because sometimes a portion may be complete or may be correct, but you haven't done everything. Everything's not been completed. So now it says answer is complete and correct. Therefore, we correctly completed this question number one. All right. So you'll see this same question for your homework. It may have some slightly different numbers, but you can use this video as a resource